Hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about stuff. A number of years ago, I want to give you a good 2018, 2019, we started hearing rumors that apparently the institutions were going to be getting into the cryptocurrency space. A large portion of this news was actually coming from Coinbase and Gemini, who were basically telling people already in crypto in uncertain terms that we really didn't matter anymore because the big money was going to be flooding into the market. But I digress. You can find those videos. And the really interesting part is that for some reason, skepticism began to build around this news. We had more or less gotten used to being in a cryptocurrency market where it was just us. The idea of anyone else actually entering the market, or except for the one or two eccentric billionaires who kept on popping up being into the space, we didn't have any real indications of what was happening. We started hearing that a number of countries were getting into it. We had constant news that countries were even buying Bitcoin, trading with Bitcoin between themselves. We had news of countries mining Bitcoin, and that was also a big thing. And on that note, is it just me, or does life not make any sense? And I say that from, this is a random thought, simply because I understand I may not have the most popular cryptocurrency, Bitcoin news channels and things like that, sure, but I feel like more people should be paying attention to this news simply because it's happening daily. It's very difficult. It would be very difficult for me to hear if Bitcoin and crypto did not exist. If I heard every single day that there were only 21 million bananas or apples, I'm looking on the table, there's not a banana or an apple here, or just 21 million of something, and it kept on dwindling. And we knew that companies and corporations were buying it because it was incredibly rare. But imagine hearing this every single day, and it just doesn't really click in the mind, or you think it's not as important. Or I keep meeting people, and it's, you want to hear frustrating? I keep meeting people and they find out what I do, or I tell them, or we have conversations about crypto, and it kind of slips. They're like, you know a lot about what's going on. And I'm always met with such a heavy level of skepticism. Well, how do you know that's true? Countries are buying crypto? Well, I didn't read that in the news. I didn't see that on any nightly news. That's also happening? Well, yeah, you know, there's a lot of Bitcoin. There's only 21 million. Yeah, but one company buying 50,000, that's not, it's always this, like, it's not even disbelief. It's like, why are you talking to me? It's always this really weird, like, well, this guy clearly has no idea what he's talking about because I've only heard one thing in the news. And this also hits me really hard as well, even within the cryptocurrency space. People in crypto right now tend to, if you're into crypto, you're into crypto. Hearing this news daily, you should not have 1 ounce of doubt that Bitcoin has made it and is going to make it further. I don't understand any level of skepticism from whence we've came. If this was 2014, 2015, cool, rocking the boat. But every single day we get amazing, and I mean amazing. There's no other market that has news like us every single day. Regardless of how many people may remain skeptical, how many gold bugs are on TV talking about Bitcoin, this and that, when Bitcoin has destructively outpaced anything that gold could possibly ever do. Gold's is not going to $75,000 per ounce in the next 100 years. I'm just throwing that number out there. I sincerely want to know what it is. Anyway, that thought is over. Upon hearing the news that all these people were getting into the space and that prices were moving up and that this kind of institutional level handle on the market had happened, when prices drop or when I see that someone else, rich or otherwise, on the news says something bad about Bitcoin, The skepticism tends to rise again, regardless of the fact that you have 8 years of daily news about incredible things happening in the market. If I had heard, when I got into the market, if I had heard that there were countries buying Bitcoin, solidified. If I had heard that there were banks buying Bitcoin, solidified. If I had heard, even before ETFs, that there were companies who were buying $500 million worth of Bitcoin daily, solidified. This is why I think a lot of times, not patting myself on the back, I think my conviction for the space is so strong because all this stuff is like stacking constantly on top of my head. It just doesn't leave. Crypto's always in my life in some sort of way. It's always in my head. And it's very, when I hear people saying things that are either negative and or like, well, how do you know this is happening? It doesn't faze me because, and I say this nicely, I just assume that they don't understand the basics of really anything and I can't have a conversation with them. Once again, not trying to be mean. It's just more of a, if I'm telling you that water is wet and you're like, well, my friend says it's a solid. And I'm like, well, has your friend jumped into a pool? My friend doesn't have a pool. He has ice. And I'm like, okay, well, that ice is going to, no. I heard in the news that ice doesn't melt. Me and you, we can't really have a conversation. Bringing it on back, got heavily off track there. We had news around 2018, 2019, that apparently a number of banks were trying to get into crypto. And that was a major thing because the idea of banks being into crypto or decentralization was like, okay, that's a little weird. And then we heard that there were hundreds of banks around the world who were trying to get into it. But that news largely stopped in 2020 because of Coco Roro, and we were talking about other things back then. This news is popping up all the time. Banks in Asia, banks in the Americas, banks in Europe are actively, openly getting into the space, and it's still met with a hint of skepticism. Not directly from people in crypto, but from people on the outside. If I tell you in no uncertain terms that this asset that I'm into, that I've been into for a while, and there are banks now accumulating these apples and these bananas, you wouldn't go, I don't really care for bananas. I don't care for the taste of them. Something must spark in your mind that something really crazy is actually going on. A number of these banks have been popping up, and this one is the most recent one. They are Germany's largest federal bank. They are called the Landesbank Baden-Württemberg, LBBW. Yeah. And they have partnered with a company called Bitpanda. What would Germany's largest federal bank and a company called Bitpanda be? Yeah. They're directly getting into Bitcoin. The bank, the largest federal bank in Germany, not sure if I said that part 15 times, is going to start offering their clients Bitcoin. Why would they be doing that? That's crazy. It's almost like they know what's going on. And they're also going to start offering custody services, which is how it always happens. If this is your first banking crypto go around, what always happens is they always offer it to their richest clients first. They start out by custodying and by offering, basically selling these rich people Bitcoin in some sort of way. Then eventually it trickles down to us, the normies, where basically there are already certain banks around the world where you walk in and they're like, hey, you want some Bitcoin? Like that kind of, they're trying to offer you these products and things like that. But this news should have been giganticer. Is giganticer a word? No, but you still understood me. And almost no one spoke about it. I understand that the largest portion of the news quite recently has mainly been ETFs and BlackRock and sometimes Grayscale and prices going down. But you can't fool me. Like, it's just, I can't keep hearing that America owns 200,000 Bitcoin, that other countries have 15,000 Bitcoin, 27,000 Bitcoin, and we know Google it. Like, you can find it very easily. Countries are using Bitcoin for imports and exports. Countries are sending Bitcoin around as remittances. They're mining Bitcoin. Banks. You're a bank. How do you offer me Bitcoin if you don't have any? Oh, wait. That means the banks are also buying up Bitcoin because that's the only way you can offer it to your clients. Yeah. I always want news like this to be more popular, but it almost normally never is. It's either, at least the last 3 months, it's either anything revolving around BlackRock buying or Grayscale selling, or the price is going up or the price is going down. And I'm like, people are missing the actual real stories. It's that we've won. We've gotten, do you understand what it means for any bank on this planet to essentially, and I say this nicely, to essentially have to bend the knee and go, we need some of that stuff that we hated before? Do you understand what it means for the largest federal bank in Germany or any country to say, hey, we have to start offering Bitcoin to our clients? It's quite significant. I don't know if I made that one clear. Yes, every day, every single freaking day. Excuse my French. The news is fantastic. And it never ends. It's literally it's absolutely amazing every single day. How anyone could be bearish, how anyone could lose faith in the market. Oh no, prices are going down. I can't believe it. It literally does not affect me because we only get good news. The last time we got bad news was when FTX collapsed. And even that didn't or shouldn't have really affected us because I told you that was all a lot of smoke and mirrors. They were basically looking for a scapegoat. The SEC, remember when the whole thing went down and JP Morgan Chase, who hates crypto, but for some reason, you can find it, got on the news on CNBC and they were like, now crypto is clean. Now we can offer it to our clients. And everyone else was like, yeah, crypto is bad and awful. And now we love it. Didn't that seem a little weird to anyone that all these banks are now jumping into the, yeah. So, as always, amazing news. Probably going to be some good news tomorrow as well, right? It's kind of weird. It's almost like all these rich people are getting into Bitcoin and trying to buy it off for themselves. So normal people have no chance of making any money in the future. Rich people wouldn't do that. That doesn't make any sense. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. For those of you who want to have a gander, the article will be in the description below, like usual. What did I say, usual? Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.